Well, hello everybody. This is Dr. Novak again. I hope you watched my last video. It seems like I got a lot of comments on it. I kind of did that video, what can we say, kind of tongue-in-cheek or kind of a little sarcastic, because I did it on purpose because of other people's videos that said their aquariums after a year failed because they neglected it. You know, I'm going to tell you why I did that video, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Years ago, 30 plus years ago, I realized that you'll get a lot of people that will tell someone, your tank is overcrowded. You have too many fish. I know better than you. Listen to me. You don't have enough of this. You're doing this wrong. And they're constantly being the aquarium police out there telling you what you're doing wrong because they are just so right. But there's a problem. And I'll tell you what the problem is. When you're somebody like me and you have to deal with people face to face, not hidden behind cyberspace or a computer screen where you can dictate and bark out all kinds of orders to people. When you have to face people and you have husbands and wives and children that you have to deal with, you soon learn in real life that people are only going to do so much. They're only going to listen to you so far, and they're going to do what they want in the end. And I realized that 30 plus years ago, when I researched the Anoxic Filter and how it worked, and one of the main reasons was that people are people. And as much as you would like to bark out orders to people of what to do, how to do it, when to do it, why to do it, they're not going to listen. They're people. They're just that way. They make mistakes. So because of that reason, that's the whole reason I did what I did. Because I realized we can't just bark out orders to people and expect that everyone's going to listen to you just because. They're not. I have a lot of comments made on some of my videos. Your tank is overcrowded. Your tank is overcrowded. Your tank is Yeah. I'm not having problems with the tank. Why are you bringing it up? If I was having a problem, I would say, then you're bringing it up. Unfortunately, people overcrowd their aquariums. There's nothing you can do about it. You can dictate to them, you can bark at them, you can think you're an authority. If they're not having any problems with their tank and it's overcrowded, yeah, they're going to look at you and say, yeah, what's your point? They're my animals, my tank, I spent my money on it. What's the point? Because people do not want to compensate for people that are just being human. And when I started this whole thing, I realized people are just human. So you have to work around them. So when you came up with the Anoxic Filter and how a plenum, a slow-moving plenum, and I started experimenting and going with the Anoxic Filter, it wasn't because of the people, because otherwise people could listen to all the so-called experts out there who bark out what to do and how to spend your money. And you have to do it their way. But I found out that people don't. They don't listen. They do it their way. So I tried to come up with a system that was a lot easier for the hobbyists to understand and make it and do it and be successful. Because if you're successful, then you're more than likely not going to kill your fish or the animals that you're keeping in your aquarium. And that's the main goal. Because if you're going to have an aquarium, there's two things I found out in speaking to people all over the world. One is they want to be successful with their fish. They want to do what they want, because a lot of people overcrowd their tanks, where I would say that's overcrowded. But you know what? I keep my mouth shut, because I came up with a system that's capable of being overcrowded. I proved it with ponds, with the Anoxic Filter, using a 1,200 gallon pond with fish in it that were 30 inches big and 1,200 gallons of water, having over 17 koi. Proved it in aquariums. I did it because I don't want people killing fish. So now you have to compensate for people. You can't dictate to them that, by the way, you have way too many fish in your aquarium. You can't do that. People are people. And I can tell you right now, I know a lot of aquariums where I would say that's overcrowded. But you know what? They know what they're doing. They know their bounds, and it's their aquarium. I cannot dictate to them. I mean, we could sit there and dictate to people with dogs. Like, you have a dog. Why do you need 2? Why do you need 3? Why do you need 4 dogs? Shouldn't you worry about just taking care of one dog? We could say the same thing with children. Why do you need so many kids? Why? Isn't 1 or 2 children enough? Sure, we can dictate to other people. It's very easy to dictate to them. But you know what? People are going to do what they want. If they want to have 5 kids, 7 kids, it's their choice. It's not your choice. It's their choice. All we want is that they be responsible for what they're doing. That's what we want. So when I came up with the Anoxic filtration system, it became a filtration system that gave individuals leeway to be a little irresponsible for what they're doing. Not responsible. Because if we all were good little soldiers and marched in a nice line, we wouldn't need all kinds of different ideas. We would all have one kind of filter. We would all have one kind of aquarium. We would all have the same plants. We wouldn't have to worry about it. But people are different. They have different water conditions. They live in different areas. Water could be more scarce in their area. We can't dictate to them, well, because water is scarce, you're not allowed to have fish. We can't dictate to them that. They come out and say, I can't do the water changes like you do, let's say in the United States. Okay, you have to now compensate and make a system that will work with their conditions. Not your conditions, not my conditions, their conditions. And that's exactly what the Anoxic filtration system does. It works with your conditions and not my conditions. My conditions are completely different than yours. And you soon find that out, that people in Thailand, people in Vietnam, Africa, they're all different. They all have different requirements. They all have different rules, regulations about fish and their requirements. Here in the United States, we have requirements also that dictate to us what you can and what you cannot have in an aquarium. We all have different rules. You go to China, they have different rules. So that system that you saw in my last video, if you haven't watched it, you should watch it, kind of telling you that the lack of aquarium husbandry was performed on this aquarium, the lack of it. And it still performed great. That's why the system has been designed the way it's been designed. Because if everybody would listen to everybody out there and always do water changes and do them when I dictate, but you can't. People aren't going to do it. So now you have to compensate for what they will not do because they're not going to leave the hobby and they're not going to listen to you. That's why I did the system. That's why I was kind of the way I did the video, the way I did it, because to show you that, no, I've never cleaned my substrate. I'm being honest. No, I don't go in there and trim all my plants and make sure if there's dead leaves, I pull them out like a good little aquarist would do. I don't do that. I find out what plants grow good, what plants I don't want to grow. I don't like stem plants really because they grow. You have to constantly cut them, replant them. There's a procedure with stem plants. I stay away from them. You may have a plant that now at one time was growing beautifully. It's not, because it's getting overshadowed by, it's not getting enough light. A good little hobbyist would dig it up and move it maybe to a part that has light. But you know what? That part that has light, 6 months, 7 months from now, may not have any light. And you just move something in the aquarium. In other words, survival of the fittest is how I've always felt it. But you want to have fun doing what you do. And I get pictures all the time of people and the number of fish they have. And to some people, they may say, oh, you have way too many fish. But I have comments said that to me in some of my videos. It's like, who cares? There's nothing wrong with the tank. I'm not having any problems. So what do you care if I have too many fish? And you'll really see this when people have African cichlids, that you'll look at an African cichlid tank and you'll say, you know, way too many fish. But you can't dictate to people like that. You can't. It's their aquarium. It's their money. All they want to do is you come up with a system that I can use so I can't abuse my aquarium. That's all I came up with. A system where you can be abusive and come out on top with the least amount of problems. It does, of course, have its limits. Like everything else out there, you can only be so abusive before it just won't work. However, as far as I'm concerned, there is no other system out there where you can abuse it so badly and still come out on top and still looking like a champion. That's entirely up to each individual, because I never dictate to anybody what to do. And I've often said it. If you have a system, it's running good, it's running great, I don't care whose it is, and it's doing great for you, more power to you, don't change. And people will look at me and say, well, why not? Because it's working. Don't break something if it's working and it's working for you. This system has been designed along like with the goldfish aquarium that I show you in the lanai, and the other goldfish aquarium that's using just a BCB basket, and that's basically it, the filter, and it's doing great. This system has been designed to take care of hobbyists' downfalls, to save the fish. I'm not here to save the hobbyists. I'm here to save the fish, the animals of which you are keeping. That is my love in life, to make sure you save the fish. If it means that I don't make any money off of it, okay, I don't care. At least I could walk away with a good conscience saying, I did the right thing. I tried, okay? But if it means you have to put away your pride, then you have to put away your pride, because people are going to do what they want. And hopefully, if they do listen to me and do things that that do not fit in with the rest of society, the way they believe you should be doing something, that's why the system has been designed. Since I did that video, I had a lot of people tell me, oh, by the way, I use your system, and to be honest with you, I don't do all the water changes and everything else. This is what people do. You can't stop them. There's people out there on the internet who will dictate to them that, oh, you got to do this and you got to do that. You got way too many fish. The system has been designed. So if you abuse it, it will make you still look good. And I thought I would do this video to let you know. Now, this is not a go ahead, abuse it. No, it's not that. But it does have safeguards built into it. And it's specifically designed that way. Like, for example, the plenum, the void underneath the substrate, that void allows negative and positive ions to join together, okay, to make oxidizers. That's why it exists, versus an under gravel filter where you would just take if that's the case, you could just throw piping at the bottom of your aquarium, drill some holes in it, and just throw your gravel at the bottom of the aquarium. Well, then you don't have the layers of, you have, what you got is layers of ions and stuff where you have your negative and your positive ions, and then you have in the plenum where the negative and positive ions join together and they make oxidizers. You don't have that. And I know this gets a little complicated to people, but you have to try to understand this is how the system works. The BCB basket attracts ions into it, and people will say, I don't understand how it works, but ever since I made a BCB basket, my fish are better, my fish are spawning, I can't understand. Well, it's because it's taking things out of the water that you knew that you do not know even exist in the system. And there's a lot of science behind that. So it gives you leeway. And a lot of people that make a system like this, an aquarium or a pond, they realize they have that leeway. I've seen ponds way overcrowded, and I have pictures of them that were using an anoxic filtration system. I can't go up to the husband and wife and say, your pond's way overcrowded, listen to me. I can't do that. All I do is invent a system that gives you a little bit more leeway in your mistakes. And that's a good thing. That's why I did it. It doesn't mean it was easy. It doesn't mean the research was easy. Tried a lot of different systems, a lot of different substrates. I mean, we went through the gauntlet of substrates, things that we thought were going to work, like vermiculite, for example, and pumice, and things we thought would work that did not work. That's how we came up with everything. A lot of studying, a lot of failures, a lot of how to control things, and that's how we came up with what we have. And when I say we, because I had beta testing sites that were, I would go tell them, here, change this. Oh, okay, they change it. How's everybody doing? You grab the information. Well, I'm having this problem. Oh, I found out I had this problem. My plants just got full of all kinds of hair algae and everything. Okay, that's bad. We need to think of something else, and we work with it. And I work with chemists, and they realize that we need to do certain things to have things work the way they do. So the whole video was about that. Yes, I do a lot of neglect, and I'm honest with you about it. I neglected it. Okay, I don't clean my filter. My redox is over 400 because the plenum is making oxidizers. Those oxidizers get into the system and they oxidize your decaying leaves. I've had fish die in here. I'm being honest with you. I've had fish die. I probably had at least 10 fish, and I don't know, some shrimp have probably died. And I can't find them, but I don't have to worry about it. They're hidden somewhere. They decay and they get oxidized, and it doesn't cause a problem with the aquarium. if a fish does die. In fact, if you remember one of my videos, Dr. Franco from Italy had a dead fish in his system it was a goldfish that he didn't know died. And it got jammed up in a pipe. And when he put the anoxic filtration system into the system, it handled everything. And it wasn't until later that when his ammonia went down, phosphates went down, and it wasn't until later when everything improved that he finally found what the problem was, and it was a dead fish caught in a pipe. And he didn't know that. And that was part of his things of, wow, what a difference it made, even with a dead fish in the system. Fish are going to die. You can't get them. Snails are going to die. You can't get them. You have to have a system that will have enough oxidizers to control those insults. You can go too far with anything. Like I said, you can go too far. You can push things to their limit until they break. But new hobbyists have to learn that once things get broken in, then you can gradually do what you want more and more as time goes on. You never hear of anybody on YouTube talking about, oh, I have 28,000 luminous on my tank and I have no algae problems. Would they do it? Can they do it? You know, this has 18,000 luminous on it. I don't have an algae problem. If I did, you would see it immediately on the moss. Immediately that moss would be covered with algae. So that's why I did it, and I did the whole, YouTube video the way I did it, kind of sarcastically, is because I wanted to show people that the anoxic filter, or BCB basket inside of your canister filter like that, a big one, that's very powerful. Believe me, it's very powerful. It does a lot to help keep your water clean, and a plenum does a lot by creating oxidizers. It's a lot of science, I understand. A lot of people are going to diss the science, but it works. It's been out there for decades. It's been out there for over a generation now. Let's put it that way. So a whole generation of hobbyists have already grown up, and a new generation is now using this system. All over the world, millions of people, millions. So when people say, oh, I never heard of it, really? You never heard of that? It's getting to the point where acting stupid is not an excuse anymore, because it has been out there. So that's why I did the video the way I kind of did it. I wasn't doing it to be insulting. Believe me, no, it wasn't meant to be insulting to anybody. No one made a comment that it was insulting. But I didn't mean it to be insulting. I just meant it to be that you shouldn't be telling hobbyists after a year that I got to tear the tank down. I didn't pay attention to it enough, and therefore it's got algae and stuff on it, so I have to clean off the plants, and I'm going to try to redo the whole thing. You shouldn't have to be telling hobbyists that. You should be telling them after a year that, hey, the system's doing great. Okay, let's go for another year, and let's go for another year. That's what you should be telling hobbyists, so they have encouragement. Not that, oh, it failed after a year. But you know what? I'm just going to do the same thing over again. And maybe this time I'll have better results. Because anytime I did something like that, and I'm just talking where I've talked to other people who have YouTube channels, I only got about a 25% chance of success. That's not a very good chance. 25%, it's great for interest rates, but it's terrible when you set up an aquarium that I only have a 25% to be successful if I set it up that way. That's not very good odds. I don't want those odds. I want somebody to give me better odds. Not that everybody will be successful, but I want the odds to be in my favor, not a 25%. So that means for every 4 aquariums I make, and I put the substrate at the bottom, I only got about a 25% chance of success with that aquarium, or I'm going to have to be taking it down within a year. And I've talked to other YouTube hobbies, and they have said the same thing. Their success rate is not as high as they would like it to be. But they keep doing the same thing. But that's okay. If they want to keep doing it, let them. You can't change people. So that's why I did it. And I thought I'd do this short video just to let you know that I was being a little sarcastic, of course, but I want to show you that now, since I've heard some of the people say, oh, by the way, I've been using this system for 3 years now. And I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't really done the maintenance I'm supposed to. You know, people feel embarrassed to tell another person that I don't really do the maintenance like you're suggesting I do, and I'm successful. They're almost embarrassed to say that because people will beat them up that you should be listening to me and do it my way and my way only. And it doesn't work that way. People are going to do whatever they want, and you're going to have to work with what they do, not what you do, but what they do. Fish are a little bit different because I could definitely go and dictate to people that, hey, you have too many dogs, or you have too many birds, or you got way too many cats. You know, 1 cat, maybe 2, but you got to have 15 cats in your house. Really? Really? You really got to have that many cats? You know, I could dictate to people, but, you know, it's not my home. It's not my animals. I don't have to feed them. And I've seen that. And I've been honest with you. I've seen people that have homes full of cats or a lot of dogs. And you go into their house and it smells unbelievably ungodly, you know, because they have too many dogs or too many cats or whatever. Too many birds because they don't take care of them 100% the way they should. Not my house, not my animals. I can't dictate to you what you do. So that's why I thought I would do that. The system does give you some leeway once it's broken in. Patience is what I have to say, though. You have to have patience. I know this is a push-button world, and everybody's looking for something out of a bottle to be the miracle of miracles, but it doesn't work that way. Mother Nature goes at her own time. The bacteria have to build up. They take their time. Patience. And once it comes around and everything snaps into place, you'll be rewarded in the end because of your patience held out. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you understand why I did it the way I did that video before this one, is only because you need to have leeway with people. They need to be able to make mistakes. You got to give them that. You got to let people make their mistakes. It's their aquarium. And those people who keep telling me that, oh, your aquarium's overcrowded on one of my videos, it's like, well, who said I was having a problem? I'm not having a problem. I'm not having any problem. So what do you care if my tank's overcrowded? I'm not having a problem. I'm not bitching that my tank is failing because it's overcrowded. You know, this is how people are, though. They dictate to you that I know better than you know. So listen to me. It doesn't work that way. Really, it just doesn't work that way. You're talking to adults, and they're not going to listen. And you're talking to adults that do things the way they want and not the way you're going to dictate to them. That's why I did this system. Because the love of the hobby and the love of the fish. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe.